Govinda, Govinda. All right, let us begin. We're 3 minutes in. Let us begin. We are 3 minutes in. Okay, my little poetry for this morning, for this evening rather. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Om jnana timarandasya jnananjana salakaya chakshuram militam jena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvijay Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we do have a theme, and this theme really is one of these, again, a wake-up call for us, for our modern age, that we do have guidance of how to apply the ancient wisdom in the modern time. And that guidance has come by not speculation or experimenting. It's come through disciplic succession, as everything spiritual comes to us. And in particular, then in this now age, then we have this guidance of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj to show us what is the practical way to apply the ancient wisdom, the teachings from the ancient scriptures. And first of all, greetings, Prema Sindhu Prabhu in South Africa. Welcome, Prabhu. And Gaurav Pradhan, Hare Krishna. First time we're meeting, I think. But
yes, we're meeting for the first time. Hare Krishna.
You're in London or nearby?
I'm in India, but in this week I'll be coming to Limerick.
Oh, okay. Very good. Are you living in Limerick already, or you're coming for the first time?
I'll be coming for the first time to do my master's.
All right. Well, please, you can ask from us. In fact, right now, just joining us, there are some Limerick devotees. So they're just connecting. Saumya Sham Prabhu. It says Saumya Sham and Vijay. Yes, Saumya Sham. Vijayananda Prabhu is actually in New Delhi, I think.
Yes, he's in New Delhi.
Aha, Gaurav, you know
Yes,
then
yes.
Vijayananda. Okay, perfect. Then you've already got an introduction. Wonderful. So Saumya Sham Prabhu, welcome. And Vijayananda Prabhu going tomorrow to Vrindavan, I believe. Govardhan, Vrindavan.
Yes, yes. Sorry, Madhusudan. Sorry, yes. He's. I think it's Wednesday. He's going. Yes.
Wednesday. Okay, yeah. All right, very good. We'll be with him by heart there too.
Yeah.
All right, dear devotees, let's start some discussion on the theme of the ancient wisdom for the modern world. Okay, and then we can have some questions. We'll hear from Devashis, but we can have some questions from you all. And really, if we are interested in what is ancient wisdom, it is our good fortune, because we know in all sections of the world, the natives, they knew about nature. They know, for instance, here in Italy, they follow the moon and which moon to plant which seeds, and what time, the waxing moon or the waning moon, things like this. So the traditional cultures have got a great wealth of knowledge passed down from the previous generations. But spiritual culture is something which needs to be presented from up to down. There are the researchers here who've made inquiry, but those researchers have been brought into the association of other researchers, and they're continuing the thread of their research, and all is relying ultimately on revealed truth and not on our own calculation that I will get something if I do something in a very calculative way. So the ancient wisdom is recorded in the books of wisdom, the Vedas. And the Vedas were written, put into black and white, compiled, brought together 5,000 years ago, which modern man thinks is very ancient, but much older than the Bhagavad Gita, for instance. Then going back to the various Puranas, and Purana means ancient, means very old. And so so many scriptures are given to us. We can think of Brahma Sanghita, which Brahma is quite old when we look at the Vedas and we can calculate in years. So how ancient is ancient? Really, ancient comes to what is the origin of the universe? And what is the origin of us being born in the universe? And this way, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita uses in our translation, in our Gita, our Gita means the Gita of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, the hidden treasure of the sweet absolute. There, at least in the translation, the word is used that the soul is ancient, that once having been, he never ceases to be. Once his individuality has come from the Brahma Jyoti, then he doesn't cease to be. So the soul itself is ancient. And the quest for understanding, research of our home zone, where we don't have to go through suffering, old age, disease, and unfortunately, death. And then death means, again, taking a new body, as Krishna says also in Bhagavad Gita. For one who is born, death is certain. Well, we can see that. And for one who dies, birth is certain. So the soul itself is also ancient. The search for how to get out of that cycle of birth and death is also ancient. And Brahma Sanghita is giving us a very overall and condensed view of where we live, who we are, who are the administrators, where of the universe, where is the eternal world, and what is the topmost part of that eternal world, and how to achieve it, the characteristics of those who live there. And then very close to the end of Brahma Sanghita, the 5th chapter, then Lord Brahma in his prayer is pointing out that final destination, that topmost destination of Goloka Vrindavan is known by very few in this material world, extremely rarely known. So it is a great fortune when we've got those residents of Goloka Vrindavan who come to this world, come to these plains in order to give us guidance and give us the opportunity, the connection to come to that land, which is extremely rarely known by the residents of this world. And you can say, who is the chief resident too of Goloka Vrindavan? This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Krishna combined. This is the description and understanding of who is Mahaprabhu. And this is very scientifically, very clearly, logically, with scriptural reference from the ancient scriptures, given in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in particular. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, very clearly showing the authenticity, if you like, the reality that the supreme reality came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just 500 years ago. Your grandmother's time or whatever. I'm not sure how many grandmothers we've got in there. But when my grandmother is telling me stories of the 1890s, then it's not so far to go back to the 1490s. So my grandmother was telling me about the 1890s as a teenager. Now you're all doing the mathematics, but it is so. I've heard from her own lips. So it is very recently that Mahaprabhu came. But he did come at a time where in India, where he appeared, the rigidity of the caste system was very strong. And the rigidity of following the proper conduct for your caste was very strong, and especially for the Brahmanas, those who were qualified with Brahmana qualities. They don't want to become contaminated. And so they are not taking meat, fish, eggs. They're not taking food which is cooked by people who cook meat, fish, and eggs, etc. They're leading a clean life and want to take also not only clean food, but also offered food. So anyhow, Mahaprabhu came at a strict time of observance of the rules and regulations. And he spread Krishna consciousness. He spread the highest goal of life, that highest goal through the Maha Mantra, to chant the Maha Mantra continually. Hey, Chewy. I'm talking about the Brahmanas don't want to be touched by a dog also. But anyway, this is a Vaishnava dog. I don't know what he's barking at. Something's caught his attention. Anyhow, it was a strict time. And then after Mahaprabhu, so he laid the perfect standard for all of conduct, and there was no spot in his character. So no one could make any complaint against Mahaprabhu. No one could accuse. And so Mahaprabhu was careful not to have even one spot. He said, anything, any fault in the behavior of a sannyasi, it stands out like a black spot on a white cloth. So his conduct was perfect, and he tried to imbibe that perfect conduct in all of his followers. But the central theme was the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. After Mahaprabhu, who showed us the message of the Vedas, showed us the message of the ancient scriptures as you can say, a supreme genius, from his first school all the way through to finishing his education, immediately becoming a professor and being able to give answers from the whole of the different scriptures. And he showed the conclusion of scripture to be Bhakti Yoga. And he showed what is Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, centered on chanting the holy names of the Lord and appreciation and service to the Vaishnavas. After Mahaprabhu, then that joyful wave that spread all over India, it ebbed. Ebb means it went down, it retreated somewhat. Just as the tide goes down, so the sea lowers. And then after some time, this pure thread of Mahaprabhu's teachings were almost lost. And at the same time, the nature, people's nature, their conduct with the rapid onslaught of Kali Yuga also became very diluted. And this, we are talking about India, which is the very place that Mahaprabhu and Krishna and Ramachandra and so many avatars of the Lord chose as their kind of headquarters to show what is spiritual life. In different ages, they have chosen India to reveal so many pastimes. Anyhow, in India, the very strict customs from the time of Mahaprabhu, they became diluted and polluted. So diluted at best, polluted, unfortunately, at worst, but that worst scenario was quite extensive. And then presently, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he appeared in the world in the 19th century. And then he also descending from the upper world with his mission, if you like, to come to draw attention to the teachings and life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the most dignified use of this human life, and really the only use for this human life that has any proper lasting result in this age. Mahaprabhu came to give us the Yuga Dharma. If we don't follow that Yuga Dharma, what's going to happen to us during this Yuga? He came to give us the very prescription for our successful life. If we don't take the prescription, we're going to stay ill, unfortunately. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur appeared in the 19th century, and then from him and through him, as the beginning of the next rise of the tide or the next wave of Krishna consciousness, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he started this next wave. And for time, place, and circumstance, he also made a prayer to the Lord that the India has become so degraded so quickly that only one of your empowered special servitors can set things right, because it is so bad. And in this way, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur appeared in this world. And from his young childhood, from his birth, auspicious symptoms, auspicious behavior, auspicious nature. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as a Naishtika brahmachari with no glance to the ladies, no intention, no hankering for the ladies, no attachment to this world whatsoever, but attachment to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and hearing acutely the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in particular. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he took Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's expression, his heart, his wish, that is to make very clear what is Mahaprabhu's teaching in this modern age. His teaching had become diluted. The Mahaprabhu's teaching had become so diluted or corrupted, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur re-established the pure teachings, and with dignity and with the authority of the ancient scriptures, he showed that message far and wide, and India became very Krishna conscious again, conscious of Krishna, with 64 maths and extensive preaching by, first of all, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then so many stalwart, good, educated persons came to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and engaged in devotional service, came to him, surrendered, and took that same message out all over India. So extensive broadcasting of the teachings and the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he, instead of following all the very ascetic tendencies which were associated with sadhus, that is, not using anything basically manufactured or anything at all except the bare one cloth or two cloths, and living in just under the trees or in a shelter, very simple shelter. That was the kind of standard that people were expecting from sadhus, from saintly persons. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in India, he used in particular the printing press, the motor car to go to different places, the trains to go to different places in India, the opportunity to reach out to people in universities, to meet the public, instead of being like a recluse and we just chant the name by ourselves, wear one cloth, sit under a tree. He saw that Mahaprabhu's message is to distribute the holy name, distribute the glories of the holy name, and distribute bhakti, devotional service and mood. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur brought that ancient wisdom into a late 19th, early 20th century scene of India. And then in due course of time, to the Western world, he sent emissaries, representatives to London. But then the grand broadcasting of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's message came through Srila Prabhupada, through Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And when he came to the West, he fully surrendered at the feet of Nitai and Gauranga, of Krishna, and with his complete humility, complete mood of surrender in service to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he brought that message to the West, which was entirely accustomed to all the modern items, using modern things, using electricity, and using many kinds of things. And Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, he was aware of the Western world. And for 1 year, he's observing, seeing. And then after a year, almost a year, just over a year, but about a year in the West, then some good people came to him, recognizing what he was giving. And in a way practical for the Western world, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada gave the very substance of Krishna consciousness with the emphasis on chanting the holy names of this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and telling others, spreading the news to others, doing Sankirtan, and how to spread the news to others, how to do Sankirtan, utilizing a microphone, loudspeakers, utilizing tape recorders to record his talks so they can be shared amongst the devotees on cassette tapes, modern technology, by printing books. Srila Prabhupada, despite all the things he did, he made time to translate books. And then he had the books prepared nicely, and all of Srila Prabhupada's books printed so nicely, using the printing press for that, and using all the facilities which were available in the West. So also he could travel place to place and help encourage people to see the message of Mahaprabhu. And all of this he'd been prepared for this presentation of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur by Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, who was very traditional, and he was, in his own expression too, he was always from a young age attracted to the ancient scriptures, teachings, that kind of lifetime described in the ancient scripture. And Srila Guru Maharaj himself was not so flexible for mixing with those who the Vedas describe as uncivilized, those who don't follow the principles given in the Vedas for human life, of cleanliness, of honesty, of their male-female connection, of what they eat, their behavior, all sorts of things. Guru Maharaj, it was very difficult for him to associate with the uncivilized persons. So just think about that for a moment. But Srila Guru Maharaj gave all that nourishment to Srila Prabhupada, gave all support to him, and the greatest supporter for all of his presentation of Krishna consciousness in the West. And who is Guru Maharaj? How is he communicating with Srila Prabhupada while he's in the West, while Srila Prabhupada is in the West? Through Srila Govinda Maharaj. And Srila Govinda Maharaj, the disciple and full disciple of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Guru Maharaj, then Srila Govinda Maharaj. He noted everything that Srila Prabhupada was doing in the West. He adjusted also his seeing how to utilize everything for Krishna service, and how to overlook, maybe not notice quite fully, but how to overlook all the faults, you can say, that are happening in the Western world. Because the main theme is to have faith in the holy name, the faith in Srila Guru Maharaj, in Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, this line of great teachers, faith in Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. And the proof of faith is putting into practice. So here, have beads, chant the holy name of Krishna, join the temple, offer all your food to Krishna. Help us to distribute this message of Mahaprabhu. This is the message of Mahaprabhu, to distribute his message. So this form of seva was Srila Prabhupada engaged in, and Srila Govinda Maharaj noted all of this. And in due course of time, after the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, then the devotees around the world are calling for Srila Govinda Maharaj, please you come to the West to continue this, to give shelter, to give clear guidance for the Western world. And so Srila Govinda Maharaj, then from 1992, his first world tour, he went on 24 world tours. And on those world tours, through his heart, through his example, and through his directions, the directions to the devotees, he showed the ancient teaching is for everybody in all circumstances. We are not the body. We are living entities. We should be servitors of Krishna. We need to become servitors of Krishna, of the Lord, the Supreme Lord, God. We need to be servitors of God. That's our proper position, not stealers and making him our servant. And we will find that this, when we are connected in the line of Mahaprabhu to Krishna, will be our method to waken up love of God. And with love of God, everything will be harmonized in our own lives and all of those who are taking up such a process. So Gurudev, he was most practical. And again, using aeroplanes, cars, printing presses, and then in due course of time, the internet and all these things which we now almost take for granted, but not really. I mean, really, most of us, many of us here, we lived when there's been zero internet and, zero lots of things about, world communication. So not to take for granted, but in the time of Srila Gurudev, with his presence in the world, which is all the way to 2010, then during this time, the internet was born, the emails were born, and then in due course of time, able to send audio, etc. in this way, and then video, and then live video broadcast. And Gurudev himself, he also engaged in live video broadcasts on different occasions before the invention of Zoom. And so I'm sitting here in front of Gurudev, and Gurudev, we always try to think, what does he approve and disapprove? And we can consider that this Zoom opportunity to meet with the devotees, to be able to share their mood expression, etc., as best we can, that they're giving also the tick mark for all of these modern inventions that can be used in Krishna's service. And we had an expression which was on the front page of the Math's website for some time, which was something like, Mahaprabhu allowed this technology. Let us use it in his service. Because if a blade of grass does not move without the Lord's sanction, then what to speak of inventing such technology where we can speak all over the world. So anyway, the ancient knowledge is so valuable, passed down generation by generation. And that ancient knowledge is telling us that in Kali Yuga, we should chant the Maha Mantra. So please, chant the Maha Mantra. That's the central theme. And then all the other things of how we do this, that, or the other in the modern world, how much we use the modern things, that is secondary or third like that. But then to chant the Maha Mantra, how to chant the Maha Mantra, this is the ancient scriptures news. It's given in Kali Yuga. What is the Maha Mantra? And Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, given in the Puranas, the ancient scripture. But that has been brought to us by Mahaprabhu, and this wave, the very first wave of Krishna consciousness ever to come out from India that we are in now, has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Govinda Maharaj in the most practical ways. So here we are. I tried to stay within half an hour. You can hear the church bell giving us what it thinks is 8 o'clock. It's not connected to the internet, obviously. Okay, dear devotees, I spoke a lot, but I wanted to say this because what we are doing now is ancient wisdom, but it's so practically brought to us, especially in our recent time. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Saraswat Thakur, and Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev. Now we have no reason not to be Krishna conscious. With this, I shall be silent. Pass the microphone to Devashis Prabhu, and the program will continue from London, which is where we are all gathered. Hare Krishna.
Jai Maharaj, Dandavad, thank you. Very beautiful talk on this subject matter. And feeling I'm a little under the weather at the moment, as you know, but something I found, which everyone knows it, but I think everyone's heard it before, but something from Srila Guru Maharaj about wisdom and like that. So I'm going to read that with your permission. This is an extract. Achintya kalo ye bhava na tamstarkena yojaya. Don't let the argumentative spirit overshadow everything. Argument is not all in all. It's not that it must be the resort of every belief. The spiritual realm is achintya, inconceivable. Nonetheless, we must try to understand things according to our capacity, faith, and realization. Above all, we have to accommodate within our mind that sweetness is sweet and truth is truth, however incomprehensible it may be. But we should not take any standard from here and apply it to that higher realm. If one has no eyes, but another can see, the blind man will naturally seek help from the one who has vision. We are also blind to what is within ourselves. Otherwise, what is the necessity? Excuse me. Otherwise, what is the necessity of consulting a doctor? The doctor can see what we cannot. And he will diagnose the disease, and then we will undergo treatment. Naturally, we will have respect for his diagnosis, and we will give him something for his assistance. It's not unreasonable. The guru is the specialist doctor, and we will understand his qualification when we come to see that what he says is real and not imaginary. Such vision will depend upon the degree of awakenment of the eye. If one who is blind is treated by a capable doctor, he will gradually, directly perceive, yes, I begin to see something. I now have some eye experience. Sorry, I'm trying to do this, but I have to do some administration as well here, because someone keeps unmuting themselves.
You can make me the co-host if you like, Devashis Prabhu, then I can keep an eye on it when you.
Yeah, I can't do it from I'm on the phone, and it won't let you do it from the telephone. Okay. From that time on, he won't care for the speculative opinions of the other blind people, but he will have his own direct capacity to see. With the coming of sight, he can understand that the application of the medicine has some real effect. Scientific understanding is also similar. In early days, when Faraday discovered electricity, many people laughed. What is this? It's just a mere curiosity. What utility can we have from this electricity? I once read an account of Faraday demonstrating an experiment to show the effect of his discovery. He generated electricity with a machine, and then he showed small pieces of paper being moved by the electric current. Many were satisfied to see his new discovery, but then a lady remarked, "But after all this, Mr. Faraday, what practical benefit shall we derive from this luxury play of yours?" Faraday replied, "Madam, can you please tell me what is the utility of a newborn babe?" His point was that when a baby is born, we have to take care of him. Then when grown, his energy will be put to work usefully. Similarly, some consider that God consciousness is only a luxury, a fashion, or a play, that it has no practical application or direct utility. But when God consciousness becomes intense, those who experience it will see that all other activities, however apparently important, have no value. Why? Because ultimately we want to live. We don't want to die. To live is the main general necessity of us all. None could deny that they want to live, and not only live, but live happily, properly, and consciously. Furthermore, we want to avoid all affliction, misery, and suffering. When God consciousness arises within someone, he can see clearly, why is everyone engaged in a wild goose chase in the material world? Everyone wants happiness, but all are chasing a phantasmagoria. Happiness can never be with mortal things. We are making a transaction with the mortal world, but that won't bring satisfaction. It can only drain our energy. What we gain on one side disappears on another. A wise man should neither accept nor tolerate this sort of waste of energy as the principle of life. Such a wise person can see another plane of life. He can see that he is not a party to this mortal world, which is but a playground. He will feel, I am immortal. I am a member of the eternal world, but I have somehow become entangled in this mortal aspect of existence. So as soon as I can shake off this connection, I shall then stand in a normal position. He will find that he himself, the soul, the feeler, the conceiver, is a member of another soil, but he has become entangled within this mortal plane, this mortal pain-producing world. This is a miserable world. With the strength of this realization, he can make advancement in his progress to the immortal plane. As positive proof comes before us, we shall feel, now I see these things and hear these things, and this experience is all more real than the world about me. The world is vague, but what I now see and hear is more real than that. A direct transaction is possible with the soul, with God, and with God's land. When we are where we are presently living is the plane of indirect transactions. Before we can have experience of this world, our senses receive information, which is then conveyed to the mind. But in the case of the soul, we can feel everything directly ourselves without the help of any instrument. Through a microscope, we see one thing, and through the naked eye, we see something else. There is a difference. Through the eye, ear, etc., we have some experience of this world. But concerning the soul, if we can withdraw from progress in the negative side, we shall be able to feel, oh, this is the nature of the soul. We shall directly feel who we are without the help of any instrument. The soul can see himself. He can focus upon himself, and through introspection, he will realize his very nature. Through the process of introspection, the soul will perceive all possible conceptions of himself directly, and without the help of any other instrument. He will then understand his own soul. He will gain the conception of a higher type of soil. On that positive side, he will discover, I do not die. The material plane is the plane of misrepresentation and misunderstanding. But in the higher plane, there is no misunderstanding. Once admitted there, our conception, though it may be partial, will be clear and true. Anyone having that experience will be convinced, and he will be determined to go forwards. Socrates could feel that the soul was immortal. He was so intense with this feeling that he did not give any value to his own life in the mundane world. He disconnected himself from this world because with great conviction he knew the soul to be immortal. Christ also was so much convinced of his Lord that he did not care for the happiness and pleasures of this world. He rejected it all. There are many things invisible to this fleshy eye that are visible with the eye of knowledge. We can concede that the eye of knowledge can see many things which the fleshy eye cannot. Similarly, a deep vision exists by which we can see things in a different, more helpful way. The eye cannot see when it is covered by a cataract, but when the cataract is removed, the eye can see. Ignorance is like a cataract in our eyes that causes us blindness. Our vision is only superficial, but deeper vision can see many things. This eye, backed by the eye of knowledge, can see many things deeper and deeper. Our apparent sight has no value. Real value is present in the seer who can see with deeper vision, and all are not equal. There are the wise, the wiser, then even wiser. There is a gradation, and according to his capacity, the seer will see. It is easy to see that at present we are members of this mortal world, but by what are we connected? It is our body that is the member. If we can rise above the bodily conception, we can reach the mind, then onto the intelligence, then to the soul. We will find that plane where the souls live is eternal, and the soul itself is also eternal. From there, we can go on to search after the supersoul, the origin of all our thoughts. The supersoul is likened to the sun, which is the origin of all rays of light. Once we find a ray of light, we can approach the sun from which all rays emanate. Similarly, from the conception of our own selves, knowing ourselves to be particles of consciousness, we can seek out a plane of super consciousness, super knowledge, and super existence. In this way, we can progress to the ultimate cause, the source of all, but we cannot go just according to our own whim and freedom. Some sort of help from that plane is indispensable. Such help comes in the form of Sri Guru, the Vaishnavas, and other agents of that land. With their help, we can make honest progress towards the goal. At present, we are as monarchs of all we survey, but what we survey is all transient, mortal, and reactionary. If we examine carefully, we will see that it's all reactionary. What is pleasing today will later turn into pain. Therefore, we must seek a good position somewhere else, a good place to build our home elsewhere. In the course of that search, we will find that we do have our own home, and it is all perfect. So there we are.
Jai. Phew, I'm pleased we do.
Yes, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. I'm pleased we do have our own home.
Somewhere. Waiting for us. Very close, but very far.
All right. Can we ask the devotees for some question? And Devashis Prabhu will answer the question.
Or Maharaj will answer.
Well, it seems that I'm going to be the one who's going to ask the question, doesn't it? Are you ready? Hare Krishna. Well, what can I say? If we're on the theme that everything, if we follow properly, we're going to get the proper direction. If we follow improperly, then we will get according to, kind of what we are improperly doing. But the measure of proper improper in this age is the sincerity and the chastity. Sincerity for what we've come out for, why we have come, and chastity to those who have come to give us that message. And that chastity means who we just described a short while ago. Srila Gurudev is our immediate shelter, who's brought us Guru Maharaj and brought us Srila Prabhupada, by the way. Who knows Srila Prabhupada best is Srila Govinda Maharaj. Who knows Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj best is Srila Govinda Maharaj. And who knows Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur best, that's Srila Guru Maharaj. And this is our very line. We have come to that line where we are under the shelter of the best knowers, if you like. And not just a matter of knowing, but the ones who have received the grace in that current, the grace, the descending flow of what is Krishna consciousness. So this was so much stressed by Srila Gurudev. We must be sincere, but we must be chaste. Not that we are going to think that, oh, I want to get something faster than what Guru Maharaj is giving. Oh, I can't wait so long. I'm going to go down to that other group that take LSD and then do their chanting, because then I can immediately get some happiness. But that is disruptive. That is harmful for our spiritual life, that kind of thing. Sorry, I'm outside. There's a helicopter. Can you hear okay?
Yeah, we can't hear any helicopter.
You can't hear a helicopter.
No.
But you could hear the crickets before.
Yes.
Now the crickets, I had a word with the crickets and they stopped temporarily. Anyway, anyhow, this chastity that we can get, we must know and know for sure we can get everything from this current. And so not to look for other ways. In this modern world, we know that, in certain places they use certain intoxicants and they think that that is giving us, okay, now we're getting higher life. This is giving us our life. But it is not only false, it is harmful. And similar, you can say to intoxicants, there are so many places you can go where the guru is going to say, oh, you can be God after 1 year if you follow my process, and things like this. Oh, I can be God instead of being a servant of God. I go to that guru. But more dangerous, if you like, because there are some quite obvious, I don't think that's really the proper path. But more dangerous is when we get, you can say, supposedly under the same guidance that, oh, Mahaprabhu, what Mahaprabhu gave, what Jiva Goswami gave, all these things, that I'm going to find others who have got another angle of vision on Mahaprabhu and the teachings of Jiva Goswami. And then we see that they are giving some like promise of some quick spiritual experience. They are giving a promise, like saying it will be. And then doing what? going against the whole principle of our spiritual life, having our faith in our spiritual masters. And hence we see that even very intelligent devotees, very brainy, they start using their brain to inquire in different places about what Shankaracharya taught and about what different interpreters of these Vedas taught. And we see their faith gets broken in our gurus. The faith gets broken in Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the very person who came to re-establish what are Mahaprabhu's teachings. And then we see a hodgepodge, or minestrone in Italy, or kitri in India, all mixed up idea, and maybe put some chili, then you can taste something. But that is not what has been given to us by Rupa Goswami. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching has come through Rupa Goswami. So we are to be very careful in our spiritual life, that we will carry out our spiritual life with sincerity. Why did we come? Why did we stop eating meat and give time to read every day the scripture and to chant? What gave us that impetus in the beginning? We must keep that fire burning. And Guru Maharaj saying also not to keep a feeble fire, just some embers, but we need to keep that fire nourished. We need to keep putting fuel on the fire. And so hence the necessity for us to regularly means not once a week, once, twice a day or more, hear the guidance from the books, from the tapes, from the videos of Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, and Srila Prabhupada. And there, we are all here English speakers. I know maybe not your first language for some, but for most of you, it is your first language. I'm looking to see. But you are all good English speakers. And then this ancient Vedic knowledge has been given directly in English by Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, and Srila Prabhupada. So it's a very wonderful time, but we need to play our part. And that is the faith and the chastity to Guru. And we need to do our part and chant Hare Krishna. We need to remember why we were hankering so much for a connection, that we can receive beads, that we can receive the holy name rather than just practicing in our own home. Why that kind of hankering and hunger which was there? Then we must try to keep up our vitality by following the process of Krishna consciousness. And in one sense, it's extremely easy. Look at what they did in previous ages, how much austerities they did, the difficulties to make their advancement, to get out of Maya, but Maya means the material energy, trying to leave from there, and then, after so long, getting some spark of understanding how wonderful is the soul. What to speak of the super soul? What to speak then of Narayan? What to speak, etc.? What to speak of Krishna? And it is Krishna consciousness that's being given by our masters.
So Maharaj, there is a question. I don't know if we've got time for it now, because almost time is up, from Devamrita Prabhu, who asks, Hare Krishna Maharaj, can you elaborate what is the conception of Guru Maharaj compared with other Godia Vaishnavas?
Okay, well, we have a short time, but I can say a short and clear answer that Guru Maharaj was recognized by all of the senior disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur as carrying that main current, the current of Srila Saraswati Thakur to this next generation. So he's not just another disciple, but he's the disciple in particular who's carrying that pure current of Srila Saraswati Thakur. And his life was fully engaged in following strictly, as he said, to following strictly that guidance from Srila Saraswati Thakur throughout his life. So this is the difference, as we know in the world today. Then there are so many disciples of Guru Maharaj, you can say. So we can say everyone has got something. Everybody's got this current connection within them. But out of so many disciples of Guru Maharaj, who is the carrier of that current? Then it's self-evident, as well as pointed out by Guru Maharaj. Srila Bhaktisandha Govindadev Goswami Maharaj, so capable to present, so much living his life only presenting Guru Maharaj, and hence only presenting Srila Saraswati Thakur. So there is a tendency to think that a sadhu must be old. Srila Prabhupada was aged when he came to the West. When the devotees came to Guru Maharaj, to Srila Sri Maharaj, he was aged. But Srila Govinda Maharaj wasn't aged at that time. I mean, he was how old when we first met him? 52 years old, and lively 52-year-old too. And so sometimes it was difficult for the devotees to think, well, he's young, how can he carry the current? And that was one of the challenges for the devotees, to overcome this bodily identification idea. But Srila Govinda Maharaj had spent, out of his 52 years, he'd spent since he was 17 years old in the association and receiving the grace of Srila Guru Maharaj. So this way, there are many devotees, and every devotee has got Vaishnavata, devotional quality. But where there is that special recognition, the special current, there in fullest amount, then there we will make our distinction in coming to hear and take shelter. And all of Guru Maharaj's God brothers, the senior God brothers of Guru Maharaj, means of Srila Saraswati Thakur, in the time of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they came to Guru Maharaj to get clarification of what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, what was the point he was making in his lecture? Did we hear it correctly or not? And after the disappearance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they continued to come to Guru Maharaj from all different groups and parties in order to check, are we doing the right thing? They saw that he was that current carrier of Srila Saraswati Thakur. And Srila Prabhupada, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to the Western world, he brought Krishna consciousness and brought his senior men to Srila Guru Maharaj for training. And he brought them to Srila Guru Maharaj, knowing Srila Guru Maharaj's position. Here they're going to get the best training. And as Guru Maharaj says, when the best seed is available, then the farmer will naturally grow that. When the best training is available, the best teacher, then we naturally will go there. And this was Srila Prabhupada's desire. Not only desire, his actions. And he told, I consider Srila Sri Maharaj my Siksha Guru. What to speak of the benefit that you can get from his association. So this way, definitely, from an impartial point of view, we can loudly say and must say that if we are serious in our spiritual life, we should seriously hear the message of Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Sri Maharaj. We hear that from him, many recordings, many books, and hear that from Srila Prabhupada and from Srila Govinda Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, who also has many books. All of them have many books. And Srila Gurudev in particular is giving a lot of focus to Guru Maharaj, because that his whole life and soul as his disciple dedicated there since 17 years old. So this is a special hereditary line, and we are happy to draw your attention to that. Yes, Devamrita Prabhu, thank you for your question. And to all of you, our time is up. And to Neelambari Devi Dasi, really, I'm so happy about your new position in life, situation in life, and I'm so happy you keep in contact with me, and to see you here in the Zooms in different places. And Neelambari Didi, special thoughts to you, and please excuse I haven't written. I'm a very bad writer these days. But I'm happy to have you here to be able to say some words to directly.
Maharaj, thank you so much. Your words are more than enough. You have said more than what you can write in the text. I'm really happy to have the association today.
Actually, that's something with writing, difficult to express, and so we are happy to share by heart. So a little publicly, maybe here, but we're very happy to say and happy to know of your new status in life. That you're going to be mum. Then very good. Do good for who you are bringing to the world. Think that Krishna has given this soul, and for a reason, and the reason we will take care of that soul in Krishna consciousness. Very fortunate. And to all of you, Saraswati Didi, she's arrived in the office room there in West London, Matt. And this is our London gathering, and Will, who's in UK there also, and Leela Mai and Vijay Krishna Prabhu in East London. And Vijay Nanda in Delhi. Look, there's a Delhi fan. I bet it's a Kaitaba fan, right? What's the manufacturer name of the fan? Kaitaba? They're so common, Kaitaba fans. Good to see you, Vijayanand Prabhu. And Lynn, very happy having you with us. And yes, Will up in the north. Premasindra Prabhu, we mentioned. Robert in Hampshire. Happy to have you with us too. Saumya Sham. Krishna Mohini Didi. Yes, Saumya Sham Prabhu in Limerick in Ireland. And Krishna Mohini Didi in Spain. And very soon, Gaurav Pradhan will be in Limerick in Ireland. And today, by the way, Mahayogi Prabhu, he went from here to Ireland. So I expect you'll be meeting him there. Good association for you. He's been with Srila Gurudev, with Srila Guru Maharaj from the early 80s, and was very strongly involved in producing those books of Guru Maharaj from San Jose. So Gaurav Prabhu, please do get his good association when you're in Limerick. All right, to all of you, Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Namapriya Devarasi, Leela Shakti Didi, and Leela Moy, not with us now, but he was with us a little earlier. Yes, Leela Moy Devidas in Vijay Krishna, but we did also have, yes, Dandavat Vijay Krishna, we did have Leela Moy Prabhu in South Africa a short while ago.
She's down with the baby.
Okay, she's with the baby, okay. And the baby is doing good?
Yes, Maharaj, she's good. Yeah, crying a bit. The teeth are coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and Premasindra Prabhu, always my affectionate obeisances to you. And indeed, my affectionate obeisances to all of the Vaishnavas, and my many thanks to Devashis Prabhu and to Saraswati for having us there in London. Jai Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Srila Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Sri Rupanuga Guru Vaga ki Jai. Please excuse me for running a little over time today. And to all of you devotees ki Jai, Devashis Prabhu ki Jai, and all of the present day Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Brinda ki Jai. Jai Gaura Premanandi.
Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai.
Vanchakaupatarubhyascha kripa sindhu Yes, we see you will also. Have a good evening, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.